Good afternoon and happy Wellbeing Wednesday. As always, it's great to connect with you guys, and I'm excited to share a message this week on well-being that really was apparent with lots of us, lots of discussion going on this past week, as many of us are going through major life transitions right now, and the emotional and mental health, especially during this pandemic and its acuity and its continued PTSD that we're experiencing from this life event that has been going on all of 2020, it seems, and really getting in touch with this transition. So today on Wellbeing Wednesday, I want to highlight really us understanding and knowing who we are in this given moment, sitting in the present moment and accepting who we are and getting in touch with who we are, especially during such change. As many of you know, I'm going through the biggest life transition ever, and it's been very interesting. And last week, I was preparing to get on a Zoom WebEx, and the host of the WebEx reached out to me and was like, hey, we have your old title for work on the slide that announces that you're part of this meeting. What do you want me to write for your title? And I texted back and I simply said, exactly. And she laughed and she's like, oh, this is what I found on LinkedIn. What are your thoughts? And I'm like, no, that's great. But the reason I'm sharing that with you guys today on Wellbeing Wednesday is that I'm sitting through the discomfort of not being able to default and hide behind a societal title that I had placed on myself, or, that's how we connect. So, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you do? Probably the first three things when you meet someone. And I'm having to articulate and better understand, what is it that I do? And it's a lot more than what the title that I had on my business card for the past 10 years was. So I bring that up with you today because I shared that with my sphere, with my friends last week, and I got so much reaction, and people were having the same aha, like, yeah, who am I? And how do I get in touch with who I am outside of a title at work? So what I want to encourage us all to do today is to contemplate, who are we outside of work, and use this time that the pandemic is gifting us with to sit in the discomfort of the not knowing exactly who we are or the why behind why we're here, and getting in touch with that. And then on the flip side, when you're connecting with someone, instead of immediately defaulting into, hi, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you do? Can we have a deeper dialogue as to who are we as human beings? What is our purpose on this planet? And what is our why? So I found that really interesting. And then to take that a layer deeper, it also then allows us the opportunity, if we so choose it, to embrace the differences of who we are and why we are, and give us a little bit better understanding culturally and that acceptance. I had a great conversation yesterday with this incredible company who I'm doing some work with their employees on their emotional and mental well-being. And the woman in HR that I connected with was rattling off all of the different clubs and groups that they are supporting within their corporation. And I applaud that. And I think it's essential and it's wonderful. And what I find interesting, though, is that we go ahead and we associate based on gender or based on a health history or based on a passion. And I look at all of us as foundationally, we're all, even all women, right? We're all going to be different, or all heterosexual people, they're all going to be different. How can we not go ahead and silo into little groups, as we historically do in our culture, but instead embrace all of the uniqueness and all of the individuality and get to know people for their purpose versus their label? So that's the message I really wanted to share today on Wellbeing Wednesday. As I sit through the discomfort of not hiding behind my title, and I could throw titles out there, right? I could, make stuff up and call myself, whatever, but I'm really sitting through the discomfort of not having that crutch to hide behind. And so whether you are transitioning, whether you are happily employed, whether you are miserably unemployed or happily unemployed, I really want to challenge you to think about it's not casting a vision for what my next title is or understanding what it is I do at work, but really who we are as individuals. So I've shared with you before, Ryan Holiday, who I get an email from every day. He wrote the book, Stillness is the Key, which I've read quotes from, but I get a daily email called The Daily Stoic. And as always, something crosses right before I hop on with you guys that resonates with the message that is bubbling up for me on any given week. So I condensed his email, but I wanted to share with you some of these thoughts about just distinctly knowing who we are in the given moment, not letting work define us, not letting our marriage define us or our partnership, not letting our community work define us, but really knowing who we are vulnerably, authentically, nakedly, without hiding behind any labels. So I wanted to share this little quote with you. So Ryan shared, just a few more years, we tell ourselves, just until I make enough money, after I make rank, almost there. These are the lies we tell ourselves, the rationales for why we're doing the thing we hate or being the kind of person we'd rather not be. The lie of the one last job. It's the lie the bank robbers tell themselves, just as comedians or musicians do, one more tour, one more album, then I'll slow down. But it never happens. It can't happen. For many, only with death are we free. Free from the addiction to power, the addiction to doing, the fantasy of one last job. You could leave life right now. We have to let that determine what we do and say and the jobs we take. Life is too short to be or do things you know aren't right, that you know you're not meant to do. Don't put it off. Don't lie to yourself. It will never happen unless you pull the trigger right now. Can't make this stuff up, right? I love how this stuff just comes when there's like a theme going on in my little head. So again, I hope that this Wellbeing Wednesday, you're inspired to get in touch with who you truly are. Have the courage to follow that passion. It is uncomfortable. You do become an outlier because you're not fitting into society as expected and anticipated. And that makes you dangerous because you're not marching like little ants. So it doesn't mean you have to be brass or, bold or obnoxious, but really, really, really knowing who you are, sitting in the discomfort of that authentic vulnerability, not hiding behind the things that we identify culturally as acceptable, and just really being present now, because as we know, now is all we have. And even though there's a global pandemic going on, now still can be beautiful. So with that, thank you guys so much for connecting and stay in touch. Please continue to share your thoughts because it fuels me. Have a great week and I'll see you next week. Bye.